Buy, sell or rent your property with Century 21 and you could win a brand new 2-bedroom apartment on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, Australia. Visit c21prize.co.nz for your chance to win.
Welcome back to Your Property Empire. Well, joining me on the show tonight is Stuart Ward, Director of Bell Partners Accountants, and we've just been joined by Charles Tarbey, Chairman and owner of Century 21 Australasia. Well, now it's time for Purchase or Pass. Right, OK. In our Purchase or Pass segment this week, we choose to quite often purchase properties that are in small blocks of units, as we think they have numerous advantages. But could buying a block in a small block be sometimes a disadvantage? Well, this week we've got a 59 square metre, north-facing 2-bed, 1-bath unit with lock-up garage, 4.3 kilometres from the CBD. It's located in a small block of 4 units with a large communal garden. The unit has 2 large double bedrooms, both with built-in wardrobes. Now, the strata fees on the unit were almost $2,000 a quarter, partly due to concrete cancer in the garage roofs, and there was also talk of the windows being replaced. Now, the property had an attractive price point and sold for $830,000 and had an expected rental return of $630 a week.
Wow.
So, Charles, to start with, just with small blocks, why would you normally, or why would someone normally go for a small block rather than a massive one?
There's a couple of upsides and a couple of downsides too when you talk about strata fees can be high, but one of the upsides is the potential. If there's only 4 there and it's zone medium density, there could be the potential to go even further, like they're doing in most capital cities with commercial properties now, converting commercial floors into residential complexes because of the size of the land that's sitting there. So if their footprint is strong enough, the upside to that is quite significant, along with the privacy issue. But you've got to really love your neighbours. If there's only 3 others and you don't like them, you know, I know you don't talk to any of your neighbours, so if it was you, you probably couldn't live there. But
my neighbours are so old they can't hear anything anyway, so... Stuart, and hopefully they don't watch the show either.
Maybe they just don't understand you.
Also, trying to get things done in strata, if you've got 1,000 owners to get to agree to something versus 4, what's that going to be like?
Yeah, I mean, proxies are you know, few and far between as far as trying to get people to vote for certain things. But you're right. I mean, I think, you know, every property's got a bad kind of owner that you can't get, you know, won't listen to you or gets very narky about everything, or, you know, the garden's got to change a certain way, or putting new fences up is, you know, too expensive. And every property's got one owner that's just a nightmare to deal with. So, I mean, a small block, hopefully you're taking away those chances. It's probably still spawn one in a block of 4. But I think, yeah, you're right. It's all about trying to get things done and trying to, as I was saying before, about differentiating property. If you want to get things done and upgrading the property, looking after the property, maintaining the gardens, you know, getting new fences and common property looked after, then a small block can be a little bit easier.
Yeah. So if we just look at this property to start with, what are some of the advantages of that you read into the description there?
Well, I like the look of it to start with, but again, it looked tidy. The only issues you referred to are the concrete cancer in the windows. And the location is great. I actually don't mind it. I think the strata fees are a bit high. They put most investors off. But one thing I do like about it, apart from where it's set and the price of it, which I think is quite extraordinary, is the potential. That's what I would see in it, more than anything else.
Yeah. And again, it ticks most of the price points because the price point's reasonable rent at about 4%, double bedrooms and boutique block.
It's got a lot of great things, and so for an investor that doesn't mind the issue, upcoming issues, it's a yes. Most investors is probably a no. From a potential perspective, it's definite yes for me.
Now, Stuart, 59 square metres, not the biggest in the world, is it?
No, it's small. It's tiny. But again, I mean, looking at the area, hopefully you won't spend too much time in there, you know, in that area. But also the potential of what you can do to it down the track, and hopefully with the other buyers cooperating, then maybe they can do it as well. I mean, that's the other thing. It's in an area of which people. I know we haven't really advertised the area, but it's in an area of which it's got people that will have some money. Or some other assets behind them, but will perhaps be able to spend money on it to basically down the track and do whatever they want to do to it.
But 59 square metres is actually quite large for if it's an individual and they want to be there. I mean, average hotel room is 30 square metres.
Exactly, as long as you've got some friends and you can go out.
on their boat.
as a summary, so look, I think whilst this is a great unit in so many ways, it's not going to be great for someone that's just about to enter the market for the first time with the existing high strata fees and potentially more to come as well. So I'd leave this to a more wealthy investor, and say for a first home buyer, then potentially I'd pass. Charles, let's jump into the numbers. What's going on with the clearance fee? I've been away for a few weeks, so what's been happening?
Clearance
Anything
rates,
major?
I tell you, last week Melbourne was 92.8%, but there are only 80 properties who went to auction. And I was trying to work out what the problem was, but when you look at all of the football and so on, who's going to auction during those weekends? The clearance rates are actually not too bad. Chris, 79.2% on a national basis. This time last year was 72% flat. So again, we're still performing better than this time last year. Sydney wasn't the #1 auction clearance city this particular week. It did get 81.5% clearance, along with Melbourne at 81.2%. But the pick of the crop was Canberra at 86.7%. So maybe the people are getting confident with the current
with the
government.
politics.
Yes.
Compared to Trump, they're thinking, well, we can't be too bad in Australia.
True. One I do want to mention is Perth, which was 55.6%, and that's great for Perth. They've been really battling. I was there last week doing some work with the Real Estate Institute of Western Australia, and there's 1,000 agents sitting in a room, and you know they're all upbeat as they can be, but 55.6%. I'm going to keep a close eye on that one, see how that moves.
Now, we're exactly kind of halfway through spring at the moment, so what's the homes advertised for sale like?
It's shocking. A lot of people are saying there's a lot coming on, but my response to that is that not in the areas where they're needed, which is still causing this movement. We had a plus 1.06% increase in stock over this time last week. New Zealand had a negative 0.6% over this time last week. And they're 20% down on their stock over this time last year. We're actually up on our stock here in Australia. So most of the areas in New Zealand are flat, except Auckland's having a flatter sale process, so the listing numbers are bumping up. But here in Australia, where we need the stock, it's just not there still.
OK, and what's happening with the rents?
Sydney was the best performer at 0.84% increase over this time last week. Our negative was, I'm sorry, not the best performer, best capital city, known city performer, but Darwin had a negative 1.25% move, and they've had a few negative moves over the last few weeks. But the one that surprises all of us that we don't talk about a lot was Hobart, and it had a plus 2.86% increase in rental value over this time last week. There's a lot of action happening down in the Apple Isle, a real lot of strong action, and the office we have representing us down there are noticing a great increase in inquiry, because where else would you go? I mean, it's a fantastic place to go to from a pricing and a lifestyle point of view.
One day I'll get there. And very quickly, the vacancy rate.
We'll send you there. 1.85 for Sydney, 2.8 for Melbourne, and 9.61 for Perth, still sitting high, 4.75% for those three capital cities as an average, Chris.
And only about 6 or 8 weeks of listings left, so not long.
Crossing
Got to get a move on.
Really, we need to, Chris. Yeah, we need to.
Charles Tarbey from Century 21, good to see you. Stuart Ward from Bell Partners, good to see you as well.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks for joining us. We'll be back again next week. Until then, I'm Chris Gray. Good night.
The information featured in this program is general in nature and therefore should not be relied upon. Guests appearing on the program may have commercial arrangements with some of the companies mentioned. Before making any investment, insurance or financial planning decisions, you should consult a licensed professional who can advise whether your decision is appropriate for you.